Chapter 5. She was unusually thoughtful, but immediately we left the table, she bade me accompany her on a walk. We took the children and went towards the fountain in the park. Since I was in a particularly excited mood, I rudely and bluntly blurted out the question why our Frenchman, the Marquis de Grue, not only did not escort her when she went out, but sometimes did not even speak to her all day. Because he's a scoundrel, she answered strangely. I had never before heard her express such an opinion of de Grue, and suddenly fearful of understanding her petulance, said no more. Did you notice that he's not very friendly with the general today? You want to know what it's all about? She answered shortly and irritably. You know the general has mortgaged everything to him. The whole estate is his, and if Grandmama does not die, the Frenchman will take possession at once of everything that has been mortgaged to him. Ah, so it is really true that everything is mortgaged. I had heard so, but I did not know it was absolutely everything. Of course it is. In that case, goodbye, Mademoiselle Blanche, I remarked. She wouldn't be the general's wife then. Do you know, I think it possible that the general is so much in love that he'll shoot himself if Mademoiselle Blanche gives him up. At his age, it's dangerous to fall so deeply in love. I think myself that something will happen to him, said Polina Alexandrovna thoughtfully. And how splendid that is, I cried. It couldn't be more crudely demonstrated that she consented to be married only for the sake of money. The conventions were not even observed. It was all done quite without ceremony. Marvelous. As for Grandmama, what could be funnier and nastier than sending telegram after telegram inquiring, is she dead yet? Is she dead yet? Eh? How do you like that, Polina Alexandrovna? That's all rubbish, she said disgustedly, interrupting me. On the contrary, I'm surprised you're in such a cheerful mood. What are you pleased about? Is it really because you have lost my money? Why did you give it to me to lose? I told you I couldn't play for anyone else, much less for you. Whatever order you give me, I obey you. But the result doesn't depend on me. After all, I warned you that nothing would come of it. Tell me, are you very distressed to have lost so much money? What do you need so much for? Why do you ask? But you promised to explain, you know. Listen, I am absolutely sure that when I begin to play for myself and I have 12 Friedrichs d'Or, I shall win. Then borrow as much as you need from me. She pulled a scornful face. Don't be angry with me for making such a suggestion, I went on. I'm so thoroughly conscious that I don't count beside you. At least in your eyes, that you can even take money from me. You can't take offense at a gift from me. Besides, I lost your money. She threw a swift glance at me and, seeing that I was speaking angrily and sarcastically, again interrupted the conversation. There is nothing of interest to you in my position. If you want to know, I'm simply in debt. I borrowed some money and I should like to return it. I had a strange, mad idea that I should be certain to win at roulette here. Why I had this idea, I don't know, but I believed it. Who knows, perhaps I believed it because I had no choice. There was nothing else left. Or because it was so very necessary for you to win. It's exactly like a drowning man clutching at a straw. You must admit that if he wasn't drowning, he wouldn't take a straw for a tree trunk. Polina was astonished. Then how is it, she asked, that you yourself hope for exactly the same thing? You talked to me for a long time 2 weeks ago about how you were completely convinced you would win here at roulette and tried to persuade me not to think you were mad. Or were you joking? But I remember you were so serious about it that nobody could have taken it for a joke. That's true, I answered thoughtfully, and I'm still completely convinced I shall win. I own you have now brought me to the question of exactly why my stupid and shocking losses today haven't left any doubts in my mind. I am utterly sure, for all that as soon as I begin to play for myself, I can't fail to win. Why are you so absolutely sure? If you like, I don't know. I only know I have to win. That for me, too, it's the only solution. Well, perhaps that's why it seems to me that I absolutely must win. So it's very necessary for you to win, too, if you're so fanatically convinced. I'm willing to bet that you doubt whether I'm capable of feeling a serious need. It's all the same to me, answered Polina with calm indifference. Yes, if you like, I am doubtful whether anything can seriously worry you. You can worry, but not seriously. You are an unsettled and unstable person. What do you want with money? I found nothing serious in any of the reasons you advanced then. By the way, I interrupted, you said you must repay a debt, so it's a good debt. Is it to the Frenchman? What sort of questions are these? Your tone is very sharp today. You're not drunk, are you? You know I allow myself to say anything and sometimes ask very frank questions. I am your slave, I repeat. People are not ashamed with slaves, and a slave can't give offense. That's all rubbish. I can't endure that slave theory of yours. Please note that I don't speak of my slavery because I want to be your slave, but simply mention it as a fact that doesn't depend on me at all. Give me a straight answer. What do you want money for? What do you want to know for? As you please, she replied with a proud movement of her head. You can't endure the slave theory, but you insist on the slavery. Answer and don't argue. All right, then. You are asking what I want money for? How can you ask what for? Money is everything. I understand that, but one mustn't let wanting it make one mad. You know you let yourself be driven to absolute frenzy and fatalism yourself. There's something here, some special purpose. Tell me without beating about the bush. I will know. She was apparently beginning to be angry, and I was terribly glad that she should question me so irritably. Of course there's a purpose, I said, but I don't know how to explain it to you. It's nothing more than that with money I shall become a different person to you, not a slave. What? How will you achieve that? Achieve it? What, don't you even understand how I can manage to make you regard me as anything but a slave? Well, that's exactly what I don't want, that kind of surprise and perplexity. You said you enjoyed the slavery, and I thought you did myself. You thought so, I exclaimed with a sort of strange enjoyment. Well, that unsophisticated tone is good coming from you. Well, yes, I do enjoy being enslaved by you. There really is enjoyment in the utmost degree of humility and insignificance, I rambled on. God knows there may even be enjoyment in the knout, when it falls on the back and cuts the flesh to fragments. But perhaps I want to try other enjoyments as well. Not so long ago at table, the general read me a lecture in your presence on the 700 rubles a year, which perhaps I shan't even receive from him. The Marquis de Greux stares at me with his eyebrows raised, and at the same time doesn't even see me, but perhaps I, in my turn, long passionately to pull the Marquis de Greux's nose in front of you. Spoken like a milksop, one can behave with dignity in any situation. If there's conflict here, it ennobles, not humiliates. Straight out of the copybook, you simply assume that I don't know how to behave with dignity. That is, although I may in fact be dignified, I don't know how to behave as if I were. Do you understand that this is quite possible? All Russians are like that, and you know why? All Russians are too richly gifted and too many-sided to be able to find an acceptable form immediately. It's all a question of form. Most Russians are so richly gifted that finding our proper form needs genius. Well, but the genius usually doesn't exist because it is rare anywhere. It is only the French and perhaps a few other Europeans who have such a well-defined form that they can look extremely worthy and yet be utterly unworthy. That is why formality means so much to them. A Frenchman can bear an insult, a genuine, deliberate insult, without a frown, but he won't bear a fillip on the nose on any account, because that is a violation of the accepted and time-honored rules of propriety. The reason why our young ladies have such a weakness for Frenchmen is that their form is so good. In my opinion, though, they haven't any form at all, and le coq galeux is nothing but a cock. However, I can't understand these things. I'm not a woman. Perhaps cocks are good too. Besides, I've been talking nonsense, and you don't stop me. You must stop me more often when I talk to you. I want to say everything. I lose all my form. I'm even prepared to agree that besides having no form, I haven't got any good qualities at all. I make no bones about it. I don't even trouble about good qualities. Everything is at a standstill with me now. You know why? I haven't a single human idea in my head. It's a long time now since I knew what was going on in the world, either in Russia or here. Here I've been through Dresden and I don't even remember what it's like. You know what takes all my attention? As I haven't any hope and as I'm a cipher in your eyes, I can tell you plainly I see nothing but wherever I am and nothing else matters to me. I see nothing but you wherever I am and nothing else matters to me. Why I love you, how I love you, I don't know. Do you know perhaps you're not good at all? Imagine, I don't know whether you're good or not, even to look at. You probably have a bad heart and an ignoble mind. That's very likely. Perhaps that's why you expect to buy me with money, she said, because you think I'm ignoble. When did I expect to buy you with money, I cried. Your tongue ran away with you and you didn't realize what you were saying. You think you can buy my respect with money, if not me myself. Well, no, that's not quite it. I told you it was difficult to explain what I meant. You have an overwhelming effect on me. Don't be angry with me for rambling on. You know why you can't be angry with me. I'm mad. It makes no difference to me, though. Be angry if you like. Upstairs in my little cell, I have only to remember and imagine the merest rustle of your dress, and I'm ready to gnaw my hands off. And why are you angry with me? Because I call myself a slave? Take advantage of my slavery. Profit by it. Make use of it. Do you know one day I shall kill you? Not because I shall stop loving you or out of jealousy, but I'll simply kill you just like that because sometimes I long to devour you. You laugh. I'm not laughing, she said angrily. I order you to be silent. She paused, panting with rage. I honestly don't know whether she is pretty, but I have always liked to look at her when she stops like that in front of me, and so I have often enjoyed making her angry. Perhaps she had noticed this and was angry on purpose. I said as much to her. What a nasty idea, she exclaimed with disgust. It makes no difference to me, I went on. Do you know something else? It is dangerous for you to walk alone with me. Many times I have felt an irresistible longing to beat you with my fists, disfigure you, strangle you. And do you think it won't come to that? You will drive me crazy. I'm not likely to shrink from the scandal, am I? Or your anger? What's your anger to me? My love is hopeless, and I know that afterwards I should love you 1,000 times more. If I ever kill you, you know I shall have to kill myself as well. Well, I shall try for as long as possible not to kill myself so as to savor the unbearable pain of being without you. Do you know an incredible thing? Every day I love you more, and that's almost impossible, you know. After that, how can I help being a fatalist? You remember on the Schlangenberg the day before yesterday? I whispered to you when you provoked me, say the word and I will leap into that abyss. If you had said a word, I would have jumped. You do believe, don't you, that I would have jumped? What silly talk, she cried. I simply don't care whether it's silly or clever, I explained. I know that when I'm with you, I must talk and talk and talk, and I do talk. I lose all my self-respect with you, and I don't care. Why should I want to make you jump from the Schlangenberg, she said coldly and with a peculiarly insulting look. It would be of no use to me. Magnificent, I cried. You said that magnificent no use on purpose to crush me. I can see through you. No use, you say, but after all, pleasure is always some use, and savage, boundless power, even though it's only over a fly, is after all a pleasure in its way. Man is a despot by nature and likes inflicting pain. You enjoy it terribly. I remember she looked at me with a particularly fixed kind of attention. My face must have reflected all my incoherent and absurd feelings. I recollect that our conversation was almost word for word as I have recorded it here. My eyes were suffused with blood. There was dried foam at the corners of my lips. As for Schlangenberg, I swear on my honor, even now, that if she had ordered me to throw myself down, I would have done it. If she had said it simply as a joke or with careless scorn, even then I would have flung myself over. Know why? I believe you, she said, but she said it as only she can sometimes speak, with such contempt and malice, so arrogantly, that I really could have killed her at that moment. She was running a risk. I had not been lying on that point either when I talked to her. Are you a coward? She asked me suddenly. I don't know, perhaps I am. I don't know, I haven't thought about it for a long time. If I said to you, kill this man, would you kill him? Who? Anyone I wanted. The Frenchman? Don't ask questions, but answer me. Anybody I told you. I want to know if you were speaking seriously just now. She waited for my answer so earnestly and with such impatience that I felt somehow strange. Will you at least tell me what's going on? I exclaimed. What's the matter? Are you afraid of me? I can see all the mess here myself. You are the stepdaughter of a ruined madman, stricken with passion for that she-devil Blanche. Then there's that Frenchman with his mysterious influence on you, and now you are seriously asking me a question like that. Let me at least know, otherwise I shall go mad on the spot and do something desperate. Or are you ashamed to do me the honor of being frank? But can you be ashamed with me? I am not talking about that at all. I asked you a question and I am waiting for the answer. Of course, I cried. I'll kill anybody you tell me to. But will you really order me to do it? Why, do you think I shall spare you? I shall give the order, but I shall stay on one side myself. Can you endure that? But no, why should you? You may perhaps kill at my command, but then you will come and kill me too for daring to send you. I felt somehow stunned by these words. Of course, even then I half took her question as a joke, a challenge, but all the same, she spoke very seriously. All the same, I was startled that she had spoken so openly, that she maintained such rights over me, that she consented to exercise such power over me, and could say so directly, "Go to your perdition, and I will remain on one side." In those words, there was something cynical and open that went much too far for my taste. How did that mean she looked on me? Things had already gone beyond slavery and insignificance. Such a view raises a man to one's own level. And however absurd and unlikely all our talk had been, my mind wavered. Suddenly she laughed. We were sitting on a bench facing the playing children, right opposite the spot where carriages stopped and set down their passengers in the avenue in front of the station. "Do you see that fat Baroness?" she cried. "She is Baroness Vermerhelm. She arrived here only the day before yesterday. You see her husband, the tall, dried-up Prussian with a stick? Do you remember how he looked us over 2 days ago? Go at once and walk up to the Baroness. Take off your hat and say something to her in French." "Why?" You swore you would jump off the Schlangenberg. You swear you were ready to kill somebody if I tell you to? Instead of all these killings and tragedies, I simply want to laugh. Go along and don't argue. I want to see the Baron strike you with his stick." "You are challenging me. Do you think I won't do it?" "Yes, I'm challenging you. Go, I wish it." "I'll go if you like, although it's a crazy fancy. But there's one thing, how to avoid unpleasantness to the General and through him to you. I'm really not worrying about myself, but about you and, well, about the General too. And what a thing to take into one's head, to go and insult a woman." "No, you're only a talker, I see," she said scornfully. "If your eyes were bloodshot just now, it was perhaps only because you drank a lot at dinner. And do you suppose I don't understand that it's simply a silly, vulgar trick and that the General will be angry? I simply want something to laugh at. Well, I want it, and that's all about it. And why should you insult a woman? You're more likely to get a thrashing with a stick." I turned on my heel and went without another word to do her bidding. Of course, it was stupid, and of course I couldn't get out of it. But as I began to approach the Baroness, I remembered that something, the sheer schoolboyish quality of it, seemed to egg me on. And I was feeling very irritable besides, as though I was drunk.